the launch of the happiness program in Gwent this morning. And thanks for joining us on Teams. We moved it onto Teams in the end. I think it's a bit easier to do that sometimes. So it's a little bit shorter than we originally planned, and we haven't got any snacks unless you've got some in front of you. We haven't got any cakes or different things that we had originally supplied. So I'm Matt Lloyd, the Prevention and Wellbeing Programme Manager and AT Lead within the Gwent Regional Partnership Board Support Team, and joined by my colleague Steve, who some of you might know, and also our colleagues from Social Ability, who will introduce themselves in a little bit, and also our guests Alix Popham and Mike Sage. So there seems to be a rugby theme running through the session today, and with the Wales game tomorrow, we're not all perhaps Wales supporters. I can see Sonia's on and a few different people, so we might not all be Wales supporters, but it's an exciting weekend ahead if you are a rugby fan. So please add any questions and comments in the chat bar. People have already started doing that, which was a bit of fun this morning, so thank you for doing that. I'll also be having some polls at the end of the session, so please get involved in those so that we can take some next steps really on the happiness programme in Gwent. This is our running order, so we should be here for up to about 12 o'clock. We won't keep you any longer than that. And also, the talks that we've got, or the speeches, should be around an hour in total, and then we'll have some time for question and answers at the end. So to kick things off, Alix has joined us fresh from his swim last week, which he was just telling us about, and then he will share what he's up to now and a little bit around the work that he's doing, and we're really pleased for him to come along. I think it links in nicely with some of the stuff that we're hoping to continue to do with the happiness programme. I'll run through a little bit about the assistive technology in Gwent. That won't take too long, and then Andy Spears from Social Network will talk about the happiness programme and how it's been rolled out in our region, and Mike is here as well from Dragons, who will talk about the great work they're doing in the community and the future potential partnership as well with the happiness programme. So before I waffle on too long, and those who know me, I can definitely do a lot of that. So before that happens, when we were planning the session, we wanted to bring it to life a little bit, and you'll hear a lot about the happiness programme and how it supports people living with dementia and other conditions also. And delighted that Alix can join us today. And Alix, I've got a little bit of a potted history, so you might want to correct some of this when you actually speak in a little bit. But born in Newport and started a career with Newport RFC, won 33 caps between 2003 and 2011. I was part of the 2011 World Cup squad. After retiring, Alix set up the Head for Change charity, which supports people with affected by neurodegenerative diseases as a result of a professional sporting career. So I don't know if that sums up some of your history, and so you've got a lot more to say than that. But you can pick it up from here. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
No problem. Morning, everyone. Thank you for having me on. I was in the 03 and 07 World Cup and not the 2011. And my last game for Wales was against England in 2008. So my international career was 03 to 08. And then I moved to France to play for Brive. But if I just give a little bit of my story, my background, I've got some notes of things just to make sure they're correct. But first, I want to get across, I still love rugby. I'll be watching all the games at the weekend. I've enjoyed the World Cup so far. I don't think Paul should be playing this weekend, but that's another subject that we can get onto later. Let's go back to the beginning. I started playing rugby at the age of 4. At that time, contact was allowed. Played for Newport High School All Boys from 4 till 17, and then go to Newport. I had 4 years at Newport, went to Leeds, then to the Scarlets, and then finished with Brive. I had 33 World Cup. We won the Grand Slam part of that squad in 08, and then fired through injury in 2011, where I my tricep and popped my shoulder. They reattached my tricep and went in to do my shoulder, and a surgeon from Newport, Rocco Carney, designed separate procedures and advised me not to carry on. I was only really good at tackling, so there was not much else for me to carry on and play the sport that I'd love and has been my life. I then went into the real world and got a job and started working. And then in early 2019, my wife Mel started noticing things that were different with me, with my short-term memory, my concentration. I was losing my temper quite quickly over things that I wouldn't normally before. I was really struggling in group situations where to take information in a board meeting, or if I was in a coffee shop talking to somebody with lots of people talking, and I was trying to make excuses saying that it was stress, kids, everyday living and things like that, and putting it off. And I went on a bike ride in September 2019, and it's a ride I've done from my house many times, and I got lost on this bike ride, and it was quite a scary moment because I know the lanes where I was, but I just didn't know which direction, and a bit of a blackout moment. And when I got back from that, I was upset and went to my local GPs the following day. That's where the testing started. I had 9 months of testing then, privately and through the NHS. And then in April 2020, I got diagnosed with probable CTE and early onset dementia from my DTI, which I'd never heard of, a DTI scan, a diffuse and tensor imaging. It's an MRI, used in an MRI machine, but in universities. And there were 5 areas of my brain that were damaged as a result of playing professional rugby, and not just the large KO concussions. Again, I don't like the word concussion, traumatic brain injuries I had. It was the subconcussive injuries from the age of 4. So literally every contact was causing a little bit of damage. They worked out, as I said, that over 100,000 subconcussive hits, that you don't have any symptoms as a result of those contacts. And when I had my diagnosis in April 2020, there was only around 5 or 6 other players who were going through testing. When after I had my diagnosis, more players were contacting me that they were worried and they were having similar symptoms to what I had. And then in September 2020, myself, Steve Thompson and Michael Littman went public with our diagnosis. And from there, I've spoken to hundreds of ex-players, mostly male, about 10 female as well, who have come forward showing similar struggles, really. And from getting the diagnosis and looking online, Googling, which you shouldn't really do, we soon found there wasn't much information support for a 40-year-old, and that's why Head for Change was started. And we were learning on the go with regards to diet, exercise, not overcommitting with you putting too many things in your life, in your diary, which was making myself, other players, anxious, and not trying to do too much, really, because the brain was getting tired. So from there, we were in the middle of COVID. We couldn't fundraise as normal, so we had to do 2 challenges online, and it was 24-hour Zwift challenges, which were horrendous, but we raised over £90,000, for that. And then when COVID and the rules relaxed, we could get out and do some normal fundraising activities. So in February, I cycled from Cardiff, head for Edinburgh to Edinburgh. We took part in the Head for Lyon, so with 6X players from 6X international players, and Geraint Thomas joined us for the last 2 days. We cycled from London to Lyon, and last weekend I was part of a relay team that swam the English Channel, which was unbelievable. I've got a stinking cold now. I've finished that, but it was an amazing experience. It was very difficult to get in the sea in the pitch black with no real light, and your mind wanders, and your mind starts playing tricks on yourselves and things like that. But all in all, it was a great challenge with people. The majority of them had been or have been diagnosed or have damage to their brain as a result of playing rugby, whichever code. And now for next year, we're looking at other challenges that we're going to take part in. For Head for Change, as I said, we still love the sports. It's both rugby and football. But the three key pillars of Head for Change is care and support for the ex-players and their family. We've had to make some interventions where players have been suicidal, and we've had to get a professional for them to talk to regularly, and that's been huge for us. We also, when a player gets diagnosed, offer them use of the Thrive app, which is a mental health app that is the only, my understanding, only NHS approved with this 24-hour help within that app if anybody is really struggling. The money from the events this year is going towards our education program, because I believe if we get education right with grassroots players, coaches, mums and dads, we won't be in this position we are now with thousands of players struggling because they didn't know what was going on when they were playing. And then the third pillar is independent research, where 100% of the research done is put into the public domain, because that hasn't always happened in the past. If, how should I put it, governing bodies have a say or are paying for that research, it doesn't all get released. So yeah, we want people to get on board. Our strapline is be part of the solution, make these great sports safer so they can carry on into the future. Yeah, that's me. That's been my journey for the last 4 years, or 3 years since 3.5 years since being diagnosed, and I'd be happy to answer any questions from anybody.
Great, thanks, Alex. Really appreciate that, and great to hear that story and the stuff that you've been up to. I'm just wondering whether there's any links in with the happiness program, as you'll see perhaps as we walk through as well, in terms of the content that is currently on this device that we'll talk about. But anybody got any questions for Alex? And Alex, one of the questions I've got is in terms of the support that's currently available, is that improving now? Are there more things in place? Or?
Well, I was lucky here where I live. I live in Langstone, and my doctor, Dr. Church, is half the time a GP, half the time a neurologist. So he got me straight in with my background from rugby for an MRI, and then I got appointed a neuropsychologist and occupational therapist. But my neuropsychologist was James Brighton, Dr. James Brighton, who did his thesis on CTE, so he knows this area. But unfortunately, around the UK or around the world, not every GP practice has that experience. So what we do now, when a player does get diagnosed, we've put a fact sheet together of what you should do, who you should approach, what support you should ask for, and it is improving, but it's ongoing as we are.
Yeah, great. Okay, we'll pop the website into the chat as well now, Steve. If you can grab that for us, that'd be great. Great. Cheers, Alex. Thanks for that. I don't know if you're staying around for the rest of the session, or if you've got to head off, especially if you've got a cold.
I'll be on another call at 11, so I'll stay for the next 12 minutes. But yeah, I'm on another one with my sister in law school because it's Shemai Day or something
Great. Thank you. Really appreciate you joining us and setting the scene for us this morning. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, thanks a lot. So, as I said, if quite a few perhaps will know who I am, but just going to run through a few quick slides on assistive technology and kind of what that's about and kind of what we are doing in Gwent and the Gwent RPB in particular, actually. But assistive tech is any item, piece of equipment, software program, or product that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities and well-being of an individual. So that can be low tech. Or no tech, actually, low tech, or some of the higher tech things. So low tech can be communication boards that you might have in the care homes that have joined us, or on our wards in the hospitals, or it can be things like prosthetics. It can be things that are more physical perhaps than digital. It can be things like screen readers, or it can be inclusive learning materials and curriculum can't get that out. Curriculum aids, or different software, walkers, wheelchairs and things, and then up to some high tech technologies like eye gaze and head trackers and different things as well. So it encompasses quite a lot. And what we've got in Gwent, we've got a program of work which Steve and myself is currently heading up, but it's only a part-time part of our role. We'd like to do a lot more in this area. There's a lot more to explore, definitely. But these are the type of things that we aim to get around in terms of setting up more product test beds or awareness of new products, sharing knowledge, being a sounding board, testing things out, which is what we've been doing with some of the products that we've been having a look at, collaborating as well, not just locally, but regionally and outside of that as well. And we work with the Life Sciences Hub, and we work with a few different organisations as well to enable us to do that, to make sure that in Gwent we bring quite a lot of this kit in where we can support it. So some of the products that you may be aware of or you may have received as part of the funding from the Gwent RPB have been the Hug doll. A lot of people have seen that doll and had a look at that. This is definitely more for mid to end stage dementia, but also we've tested in a range of different other settings as well, in terms of autism, and we've tested with carers, we've tested in schools as well, and it's had a really good impact in some of the schools where it's gone out to as well. Really interesting development is from Cardiff Met University. It's being developed by them, and a lot of people find it looks like a bit like a sloth. We have them called Doug the Hug. People have personalized them and made knitted outfits for them and different things like that. But it's not for everyone, of course, but it does come with a heartbeat, and it comes with some music as well. It comes with a music player, which has been pretty tricky to navigate, but they have moved that over to Bluetooth, which is good. Happiness Program, which is also another Gwent RPB funded program, and that's what we obviously to celebrate and launch today, so I won't talk too much about that one. The Rita has been around for a long time within our region. There's over 200 units that are out and about, and training's available for both Happiness Program and Rita, which we can cover off in a little while. Stay Well at Home has been a really interesting and more of the higher tech element really for for the assisted technology. So this is monitoring people at home, not intrusively, but it monitors people's markers. So it can do blood pressure, it can do different things that will check on people remotely, and then it'll flag up if there's any issues, which is a really interesting model and something that has been tested over the last 10 months, and we will see how that continues to go. And then pain check, which some people might have been involved in, that they're on the call today. So pain check is an AI pain check software, which can actually measure and help to measure pain within the markers within somebody's face, which is a fascinating piece of technology, which has been trialed in Gwent over the last year with the Life Sciences Hub. So the other thing that we have, and people are welcome to join the Gwent Assistive Technology Network. We've currently got 39 members. It's a pretty good forum. The meetings take place currently monthly because we've got quite a lot of things to get through, but it's usually bi-monthly, and that brings people in to share their experiences, to share their good practice. And also we have a look at kind of what else is going on elsewhere. Like we said, we welcome in new members, so please let us know if you would like to join that network. And in the next session, which is actually next week, we've got Monmouthshire Council coming along, who's going to talk to us about their assistive technology program, which is a really exciting piece of work that they are looking at. But all our local authorities have got some good AT programs in place. So that's a little bit about potted history or potted context, I guess, of what is happening in terms of assistive technology in our region. That's just from a Gwent RPB perspective. And like I said, we work quite a lot with our partners to try to have a look at what is going on and try to learn from best practice and facilitate some other projects within our region. And there is one going on at the moment around falls, which is a big issue, as we know, throughout the system. So there's an interesting pilot going on around falls as well. But again, I will now pass you over to Andrew, who is going to talk to us about the happiness program. And Andrew, over to yourself.
Thank you very much, Matt. We do have a John, our MD, who is available, I think now, John, just to sort of say a few words before I do, just talk a little bit about why social ability and the happiness program was set up. Yeah,
thanks.
John, yeah, great.
Yeah, sorry, thanks so much, and apologies everyone, I'm just about to get on a plane to a wedding in Scotland. Firstly, can I just say thanks to Alix for joining. A lot of what inspired me to set up social ability was actually what happened to my dad, who was a keen amateur rugby player when he was young, and was diagnosed with early onset dementia at the age of 52 in the 90s, which was quite a difficult time to sort of understand what was going on. And I really hear some of the kind of precursor symptoms that Alix was describing in terms of temper and finding it struggling to get confused in the environment. And we just thought it was stress or something else. I was only 12 at the time, so it's very hard to distinguish what was my dad's personality and what actually was a condition that was affecting him. And I'd also just like to thank everyone else who's been joining us, especially Matt and Steve, who've helped fund this program, and across 147 partners in Gwent. As I said, our fundamental ideology is to make people with cognitive impairments happier. We started in the world of dementia, especially people with mid to late stage dementia in care homes. And I was really touched because when going to see my father in a care home, he was just walking with a purpose around the room and wasn't really smiling, wasn't engaging physically, emotionally, and it just stayed with me for the rest of my life. And when he passed away, I tried to kind of do a corporate law job, a magic circle law firm in the city. I found I was just making rich people richer. What I wanted to do was something with social impact. And I know when used well, and when all the training and everything that Andy's about to talk through, the impact that we've seen with the happiness program has been utterly incredible, heartwarming, and it makes me so proud that I've got a team who've sort of shared my vision. A lot of the people that work in our company have similar backgrounds and stories and loved ones with cognitive impairments. And so my message is really thanks for being here today. Thanks for listening to us. Please take on board our tips and tricks. Please let us know if you require any more training, any more help. I know it's a really tough time in the care sector at the minute, especially in hospitals, but we're here to support in any way we can, and we're as flexible with unlimited training, because we know that when you are able to use our technology in the right way, it has the most incredible impact on the people who are probably the most isolated in our country today. And a final word for Alix, if he's still online. If you need any more volunteers for any of your challenges, I know a lot of dedicated young people here who would love to do it. And best of luck to Wales in the rugby and England this weekend. I'm going to pass you to Andrew. I'll be listening in. If you have any questions, please do ask. We have members of the team on board. And thanks very much. Really inspirational.
Thanks so much, John. And hello, everybody. So yeah, just to reiterate, really, thanks so much to Matt and Steve for having us today, for organising this, and to Alix. It was just great to hear that story and all the amazing work that you're doing. So yes, on to the happiness programme. So we launched the happiness programme in January 2020, and we've now got over 1,000 partners throughout the UK, Ireland, and we've launched in Canada, and we're launching in France and the US as well. So there's been a huge interest and uptake in the programme, which has been really wonderful. And obviously that's been throughout some of the most difficult times in the care industry with the pandemic. What has been amazing for us, I think, throughout all of that is hearing all of the stories from everybody when we couldn't go out and we couldn't go into hospitals, we couldn't go into care homes, we couldn't see people interacting with the technology. And that's for all of us as a team, that's really what, sort of just gives us that lift and that drive to really push forward with everything that we're doing, seeing the impact that we have. It's been lovely to the wonders of social media and people sharing videos and photos and stories with us has been what it's all been all about throughout that time. And obviously now we're out a lot more visiting and going to see clients, which is fantastic. Dan, one of our team, is currently running all around Gwent and Wales and seeing lots of people. So some of you on the call today may have met with him over the past few days. So the happiness program, we really wanted it to be a partnership. So at the heart of the program is the technology, which I'm going to talk to you about. And for those of you that aren't aware of what that is, it's an interactive light projector. And so it projects light down onto a surface, and then you can touch and play and interact with the light. And then what we wanted to do was to have all these elements that wrap around the technology, because we know that delivering a piece of technology on its own, we can't guarantee that we're going to have the impact. The best way to do that is to give the support, is to have new content, community engagement programs, reporting, and service and maintenance, and really make sure that it's really sort of bolstered as much as possible. Can you move to the next slide, please, Matt? So the projector itself is about 2/3 the size of a shoebox, and it sits on top of what's best described as a more robust version of a drip trolley stand. You're going to see a couple of videos of it in action soon as well. And it has, unlike a sort of phone or iPad, it has an infrared sensor, so you can use it on any surface and it responds to movement. So it really gets people moving, it gets people stretching. It's for all different sort of ages and abilities, and we've designed content, activities, games for people with cognitive challenges. But we have a huge range of content on there now, over 100 actually interactive games that are on the system. And it's for all ages and abilities, and you can use it. The idea is it can be wheeled in and out of a bedroom, for example. You can project lovely sensory images up onto the ceiling. You can project images and games and activities onto the wall. It can be used on the bed sheets. It can be used for group play around a table or on the floor to people stamping, moving their legs, or reaching out with all the various different props that we encourage people to use in our training sessions. what we do is throughout the year we release new content, new games and features, and they would also be in line with religious and cultural festivals. So Eid, Easter, Diwali, Christmas. I think there's over 20 different activities that will appear on the system for Christmas, but you know there's loads that sort of appear and disappear throughout the year, and we do that to really to reflect what's going on in the outside world. We're constantly evolving, constantly designing new games, new content, to be in line with those sort of, you know, all the various different religious and cultural holidays. But then we have a whole range of new, like, sort of independent co-designed games. And I say co-design because really they are designed with people like yourself. So what we will do is we will ask you, you know, what you'd like to see on the system. We look at what we have in the suite of activities that are there already, and then we put the most popular into development, or those where we think there are the biggest, you know, gaps in the system and things that we want to do. So we have a whole development plan that is that's very much a, you know, sort of a two-way conversation with all of our partners throughout the world, which are really lovely. So then there's service, maintenance and support. So anything goes wrong with it, and I'm sure some of you will have been in touch with our service team. We will very quickly rectify those problems. We can do most of that by jumping on the Wi-Fi and accessing the machine remotely. If we can't do that, and obviously, as Dan's been doing the past few days, we're going around and seeing people, making sure that everybody's happy, or we can just swap the units out with another one and get that one sent back in the post. So the idea is that there's, you know, very little and very short breaks in service if things do go wrong. But we are, we've been, the team have been fantastic really at making sure that there's very few of those faults that are happening in terms of the development that we're doing. There's community engagement, launch parties, volunteer programs that we're very keen to run. So obviously this is a launch event today. We've had them in person events in the past as well, where we've had ribbons cut, balloons and cakes and all sorts of things to just, you know, really try and involve the community, and to engage volunteers, to engage friends and family as well with using the technology. We talk often in our training that it's very much, you know, in care homes it's a whole home approach. In hospital environment we want all staff to be trained and as many staff to be trained as possible, because we know the more people that know how to use it, the more people that are comfortable with using it, the greater the impact is. So the training that we provide is unlimited. When we reach out to everybody, we're all, you know, to check in, we're always asking, would you like more training, would you like more support? So if anybody would like any further training or support, we're going to put the links into the chat so you can book in those trainings as well. And then we like to look at the impact that the technology is having. So we want to know actually, you know, how is this affecting staff? How is this affecting people that you care, loved ones in care, and what impact is the technology having? So I'll come to a bit more of that in a moment. If you go to the next slide, please. So this is a short video from County Hospital that we filmed earlier this year. I think it was all shot and put out. So I shall play that for you now.
Hi, my name's Kate Serratti. I'm the ward manager on Rowan Ward at County Hospital.
Great. So yeah, it's a lovely video from County Hospital there. So just touching really on our care outcomes. So this is really where we where we focus all of our energies into making sure that the outcomes from using the programme are the best that they can be. And these are sort of aggregate feedback from our sort of 1,000+ partners throughout the world. You can see the feedback we've had from them here. So 98% improvements to social well-being, as they said in the video, social interaction, engaging around the table, around the floor together. And what I love about this is that it's not about the technology, it's about the relationships between people, but the technology just facilitates those relationships. It's about holding hands, making eye contact, singing, talking, reminiscing, and so yes, we've had 89% that have reported improvements to cognitive well-being, 98% improvements to physical well-being, and we've got a partnership coming up with the Alzheimer's Society where we're looking at the impact that it has on physical well-being for people with dementia, which again come on to at the end. 73% using it as a reduction in distress. So I think a lot of the content that we've designed, we have a range of activities and games that are, that are non-goal based, that are very sensory, that have anti-failure built into them, that are designed for people in the mid to later stage of their dementia journey. And then we have, it's a really good tool to use for sort of stimulation as well, for getting people moving, cognitively stimulated and physically stimulated as well. So it's a tool that does both those things depending on the individuals that are playing and sort of what outcomes that you want to achieve from using it. And so we see that 73% have reported that sort of reduction in distress using it as that distraction tool, that sort of therapeutic intervention, which has then led on to 1 in 5 actually reducing the need for those PRM medications, as you heard in the video as well. Which is a lovely outcome for us. We know that by eliminating those, it's had a profound effect on many individuals. And there was a story the other day about one of our care homes, and she said, they just tried it with this individual who was always very distressed. And when he was, they would give him medication, and she said that now they can see it coming. They can see that he's getting distressed, and they bring the projector in, and they just put on the water ripples or the leaves, something really gentle and relaxing. And Dawn was just saying, I could just see this gentleman's shoulders drop and calm, and that he just relaxes. And then another member of staff came in and said, "Oh wow, he's not up and pacing around, and he's just sort of relaxed." Yeah, it's just from doing this, and that she said, you've just removed. We don't give him medication anymore. So there's countless stories like that, which are just so lovely for us to hear. And then what we've noticed is that obviously, as you heard in the video, by having people more stimulated during the day, and then to rest better in the evening, or by if people are walking with purpose, sundowning on their feet quite a bit, and you can actually get somebody to sit and engage because it is so sensory, and so that it hardwires into those parts of the brain that are still active for people in their mid to later stage of their journey, that actually it gets people to sit and rest that maybe wouldn't sit and rest, that would be on their feet all the time. So we're reducing falls, which is really wonderful, and then improving nutrition and hydration as well. Lots of examples where our technology has been used for just like 10 minutes of meaningful activity before serving food and drink. And actually we did a study with a care home group in the UK where we did this across 2 homes. They specifically just had people who were nursed in bed, and that they just took the technology in for those 5 to 10 minutes of meaningful activity before serving food. And what they found was that everybody in that study actually gained some weight, and there were people that were at risk of weight loss. They found that by being more stimulated, they took on more food and fluid. And we had one lady in that study who, her arms were very contracted underneath her chin. She was non-verbal, and she'd been non-verbal for about 2 years. And she used to play the piano, so that it was very person-centered, and they put the piano keys and bubbles onto the bed at different points, but they could see that she was trying to reach down to touch the keys. And over a period of time, her arms that were, sort of locked under her chin really freed up, and she actually could touch the keys on the bed sheets. She gained 5 kilograms in weight, and just before the first lockdown, her daughters granddaughters and great-granddaughters all came in to see her. Her great-granddaughter was holding her hand and she said, "I love you, Nanny." And she just looked at her and she said yes. And it was the first time she'd spoken in 2 years. So yeah, really lovely stories that, you know, we just yeah, incredibly heartwarming to hear. So what we like to do as well is look at how the program ties in with the CIW, can help evidencing, you know, for reports. If there's inspections coming up, that we can you know, sort of generate reports that put together the impact that it has and how this ties in with the care inspectorate. So, you know, meaningful activities for people and for different people's backgrounds, training staff, and you know, that sort of training and onboarding that we supply. And I can't sort of emphasize enough that if anybody, you know, like if there's any new staff that come into your care venue that would like training, please do book in through one of those scheduler links. The training's unlimited for a reason, because we know that there's a high turnover of staff in the care industry and we want as many people to be trained as possible. And then providing opportunities for staff to demonstrate leadership, personal development, and for us, you know, keeping all those activities up to date, releasing new activities and having that person-centered software on there as well. Activities for physical well-being, cognitive stimulation, positive sensory experiences, and learning and education. I'm sorry, relaxation, all part of inquiry number 21. And then encouraging people to live an active lifestyle, supporting independence, and then, you know, the educational games and you know, the background enrichment as well. So using the technology not only for activity sessions where it might be that you're, you know, one-to-one or in a group with people when they're interacting with the games, but actually it might be you're doing something else, a themed event around something else, and you're serving food around that, and actually that it can help you know, improve the environment and make it relevant to whatever other activities or sessions that you're running. And I know we've just got YouTube integration, so we've had lots of, I mean, we had one of our care homes the other day that said they projected our train ride journey onto the wall. They'd put Hogwarts music on and serve people some tea and cake and put a table in front of the train window and taken them up to Hogwarts, and then they were projecting all these things from Harry Potter on the ceiling. Yeah, it's really creative. It's so, you know, so lovely to hear all the different ways in which it's used, and we love to sort of integrate that into our training as well. So in Gwent, we've had 147 happiness program units delivered. All services have had online training and support. We've actually had 143 services, meant to update this slide, that have taken part in the online or in-person training, and all on-site staff are receiving weekly guidance and support. So what we do is we tend to get sort of feedback and case studies and videos like the ones we've showed you, and we like to share those with all of the you know, sort of all of our partners to make sure that just to share best practice, really, and any sort of new games, new developments that we've got coming up, or chance to be part of research and partnerships and things like that. And there's 405 staff actually that had received training on the program as well since we've launched. And then, yeah, so love, just, you know, we've had lots of these sort of feedback quotes at Millheath Nursing Home. It's an essential resource for us. We use it in bedrooms on our residents who are less mobile. The ceiling play is really helpful and we'd be lost without it, from Paula. And it's encouraged residents to interact with each other, leading to conversations that would not have happened otherwise. An excellent tool for distracting techniques when residents become agitated, from June at Rowan House. Really happy to say we've got a recommendation score of 9.4 out of 10 across all of our partners in Gwent as well, which is wonderful. And then, as I said earlier, it's just been really lovely for us. Every week, Alice, who's on the call, has shares, and Rebecca does as well, share our social media roundup. So we actually look across social media every week, so we see all of your posts and hopefully we're responding to all of them as well. There was a brilliant video last week with, or the week before, with a horse racing, which you know, you couldn't watch and not smile and laugh at. Really lovely. And so please, just, we see all of them. We absolutely love them. Please share on social media as much as you can when you're using the technology. It genuinely puts a spring in our step for the whole team. And then the next slide, please. So this is a case study video that we've put together with Durham County Council. It's a bit of a call to action really as well, because we're looking to do something like this with our partners in Gwent, and so we'd love to have some volunteers that would be keen for us to come in, that we could talk on camera about the program and put it together in a nice nice video. So yeah, we'll just play that for you now so you can see what we're looking to do.
Hi, my name is Diane Moore. I'm the project coordinator of the Support in the Provider Market.
So yeah, well, just such a lovely video, and this really is a a big request really. If there's anybody that would be keen for us to come in, we're not a big outfit. We do it with, you know, just a phone camera or a small camera on a little tripod and a couple of lights, and be one or two of us that would come. So, you know, and no pressure, because when we edit it all together at the end, you know, like those takes, there was numerous bits of laughter, and, you know, we chop bits together and cut bits out. So you don't have to be, you know, like presenter quality in front of camera, whatever it is. It's just a couple of short interviews talking about the program, how you feel about it, and if we can get any residents or patients, you know, to sort of talk about their interaction with it as well, then, you know, we'd really love to do it. So if you could just pop in the chat your details, and or you can message Matt, you can message myself, and just say that, you know, that you'd be interested in us coming to do some filming. And then what we'll do is we'll arrange probably, you know, a few days or a week where we'll come down to Wales, and we'll line everybody up, and we'll come around and just shoot everything over those few days, and then put hopefully a really lovely video together. So and that's great. Thank you. Already can see we've got a volunteer. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, as many of you that can volunteer, that'd be great. So just then to touch on, well, the bit of the future really, and what we're doing with our developments. We're constantly working on new content, new games, and everything like that I talked about. But what we're really doing a lot on at the moment as well is our partnerships. So what we want to do is partner with other organizations, because, you know, we know that can really sort of increase the impact that we have. There's a company called Motion Exercise. So what's very, very exciting about that is that, as some of you will hopefully have seen, this is, you know, they're already on the unit and they've been rolled out to all of our partners. It's interactive, an interactive on-demand video exercise session that you can project onto any wall in your care venue. And so we've got things like chair Pilates, river rowing. There's all sorts of different, you know, very simple seated exercise sessions that people can follow. What I love about this is that it's somebody who can be life size on the wall or bigger than life size. You know, it can be a lovely big projection of somebody, so it's very clear for people to see what it is they're following. There's obviously audio with it, and then it enables care staff who maybe aren't trained in running, you know, sort of seated exercise sessions, to be able to do those, but also to sit next to the people that you care for and to help them and talk them through them and make sure that you feel comfortable and secure. So it's been really lovely seeing those in action, really, and seeing different people, you know, sort of just moving and being supported by staff at the same time. So there's lots more of those coming. They're coming on the unit, which is really exciting. The Alzheimer's Society, we have a partnership with them. There's going to be some training webinars that we're going to be releasing, looking at physical activity in older people. So watch out for those. They're going to be coming sort of, you know, end of this year, next year. I would have probably next year, actually. They'll be on the unit and on the website through the Happiness Hub. And actually, just to mention a little bit about that, for those of you that have the Happiness Programme, if you're not already a part of it, there's the Happiness Hub online, and that's where you can find all of our videos, you can find support, service, you can book in for training sessions. So if you're not already on there, please let us know and we can send you through a link where you can join. The Alzheimer's Society are also doing a research project for 6 months with us, and actually looking at how the Happiness Programme improves physical activity for people with dementia, which is really, really exciting. So it'll be a published research piece that will have, you know, work that will have been done by visiting care homes, doing assessments and research studies over 6 months. So yeah, we'll let you know when that's published as well, which is very exciting. We've been talking to the National Trust, been met with their exec board team about having video tours and quizzes, and, you know, taking people to the beauty and heritage and nature of the National Trust for those that maybe can't leave their rooms or can't leave the homes that they're in, or if they're long-term care in hospital. The National Trust has probably been a big part of their lives, and so it'd be lovely to be able to give them cinematic tours of those locations and choose them. So that's work in progress and in the pipeline, as is conversations with the Royal National Ballet Company about bringing ballet performances, and the National Museum of Wales, who we've been talking to about lots of their memorabilia and content that we can put onto the unit. And last but by no means least, very excitingly, Welsh Dragons who we've been having a few meetings with as well. We know how important sport is for people, and we know I've just seen, we've put on a game like a football or rugby game, and suddenly somebody lights up and starts talking about their memories. And I've seen residents sitting playing our football game or a rugby game with scarves on and flasks and all sorts of things, and cheering, and it ignites the room. Sport ignites the room in so many fantastic ways, and so it's very exciting to be working with Dragons. So yeah, I shall pass over to you now, so you can talk a bit about that, Mike.
Thanks, Andrew, and good morning all. So my name is Mike Sage. I'm the community manager at Dragons RFC, and I'm currently at Rodney Parade at the inspiring set in our stadium. But I'm also joined, my colleague is on the call, Karen Burgess, who's our inclusion officer, and she's actually at one of our dementia classes up in Blaenau RFC, or Blaenavon RFC as we speak. So I know Karen will come in, but what I'd like to talk a little bit about is our journey. We've heard lots of inspiration in terms of through the happiness program, in terms of the care and support, and it's the value that we share at the rugby club as well. And I've been fortunate. I've worked here since 99, 2000, and the landscape of rugby and social care has developed enormously, and we've as staff feel privileged to play a little part in inspiring people through our journey. Because when I started, rugby was predominantly a male-dominated sport where you'd have 15 men running out onto a rugby field and playing the contact game that Alix spoke about this morning. But then we sat down as a community and inclusion department and said, what does success look like to us? And the rugby on the field doesn't matter. We wanted to grow and inspire as many people throughout our region as possible. And that the landscape of community now has become so inclusive that our arms are open, and anyone and everyone, regardless of abilities or disabilities, can be a fully part of our Dragons family. And we're really proud to be able to provide the services that we do and incorporate everyone into our Dragons family. So just to give you a little bit about what that looks like is we work with peoples through our Dragon's Tale project as young as 3 in nurseries, and we got people as old as 90 plus on our sport in memory and re-engage programs. And in between that, we try and cater and evolve. I've heard evolve mentioned a couple of times this morning. We try to evolve and react to what we're seeing in front of us. So for instance, a good example, we do a lot of schools work. We're in 74 schools that we visit every single fortnight of the school year from September till July. Then we were noticing lots of pupils with sensory sensibilities. So on the back of that, then we evolved to provide autistic provisions, provisions for people with visually impaired, wheelchair rugby, we've got mixed ability, touch rugby. So we evolved in that respect. And then when we were speaking to our supporters, they were saying, oh, my mum, my dad, they love rugby, but there's no like forum for them. So then we started to set up walk-in rugby provisions so people could play this slow-paced form of the game and still feel fully part of the Dragons family. On the back of that, then, dementia, loneliness, depression was often keywords that people were coming to us saying with. And on the back of that, we set up and supported Sport in Memories. And now we're proud that we've got a Sport in Memories hub in all 5 of the authorities that we support. And it's become a real vital network and a friendship group that people live literally from week to week to come to our provisions. And what we've found, the most success we've found is that they've become a close-knit family that now don't just come to sport in memories provision, they come and socialise outside of that forum. They come to matches and meet up as group. They support different provisions that we've run, and it's given people a whole new lease of life. And the ripple effect is that the families are feeling proud that they're succeeding in something as well. So it's a really inspiring journey. And I know Karen, our inclusion officer, she delivers most of these provisions, and I'm sure she'll be able to tell you now lots of the success stories that she's had through our sport in memories provision. Karen, would you like to add?
Yeah, my voice is a bit croaky, but yeah, I'll try my best. Yeah, it's for me, you really see life-changing effects on people that come to our groups. You know, we've got a couple that come to, I could reel off probably, 20, 30 stories, but they're all so emotional. But we've got a couple at our Sporting Memories group in Rodney Parade, and Ron's turned 90 this year, and his wife's in her late 80s. But we supported them, and they've been coming for about 3 years, and it's become the highlight. It is the highlight of their week. The couple as well, before coming to our group, were never really social butterflies. I never really went out or did anything, but since coming to the group, like what Mike said, these groups are much more than a group. They each group is a family. And they really look out for each other. They've got connections outside a group. But we did a surprise party for Ron. And he'd never ever had a party ever before, and he was so shocked and so emotional, and his family were there. We invited his family, and he just said it's the best thing that he's been a part of. He's best thing. He absolutely loves it, and his wife came along initially, just to support Ron, because obviously Ron's got Alzheimer's, just to support him. And then probably use it for a bit of a respite for herself, but she's never left. Never left, because these groups, just as much as they are for people who are struggling, loneliness, isolation, Alzheimer's, dementia, it's also a support network for the people who are caring for the people as well. They all connect, they all chat, we share problems, we have fun, we play games. It's just, honestly, I welcome anybody to come along to a session just so you can see it for yourself, because you come out of there with the biggest smile on your face. And it can get quite emotional sometimes, but yeah, that's just one story there. But honestly, they're all the same, and I get emotional just talking about it. But I absolutely love it. I love what these provisions have done for these people, because it's a lifeline. It's a lifeline, and it's extended, like Mike said as well. It's extended from one group across to lots of groups. The social side of it now is that these little families now go outside of the group, and they meet up, and they have lunch, and they do things, and that's the idea. The idea is to grow, and for these guys not to be lonely anymore, not to be isolated, and to feel like they're part of something. And everybody's so proud. These guys are so proud to be a part. And the hashtag Dragons family, they are proud to be a part of the family, because that's what we are. We are a family. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. And it is inspiring. Obviously Karen delivers, and every now and again I will pop along and sit down, and you come out of an hour session really inspired, and not just through sport in memories. We run a re-engage program for 75 plus, which is focused on independent living skills. We visit care homes. Great. I don't know if you follow us on Twitter, but we got a young lad called Morgan. Karen, just tell us a little bit about Morgan and his journey from the specialist care home setting to where he is now, because that one is amazing.
That's in our hearts, isn't it, Mike? It's in everyone's hearts. So Morgan, he's 25, And I first met Morgan by going to his day centre. So I've been going there for about 2.5 years, something like that. And I met Morgan, and oh, he's such a character. He's a great guy. But all he's ever wanted to do in his life is to be able to work, and to be able to seen his mum and dad work, he's seen his sister work, he's seen his brother work, and he wants to make his family proud. And why can't he work? Why can't he do what they do? And exactly right. But he was going through a bit of a rough patch, and depression and anxiety, and he's got autism, but he's got a few things that crop up. And his mum reached out to me, and she said, look, he's really struggling, and he loves you coming in. He loves you. He loves what we're doing. And sorry, yeah, there we go. I went then. Am I there? Yeah, sorry. He what he's wanted is to be able to work. So I spoke to his mother. I said, what do you think about him coming and doing like work placement, and come in with me one day a week and see how he gets on. And obviously he's chatted to Mike, and he was like, great idea, let's do it. And it's been a year on now, but we started capturing his journey from the start, and he does a weekly video, and we put it on social media. So basically he tells his story about what he's done today, what's his favorite part. And he's a funny guy. He always tries to make his videos a bit funny, but the difference in him watching his videos from the start to a year on now, honestly, it's changed his life. It's changed his life. It's changed his family's life. He's so infectious. He's a celebrity in his own right now. Honestly, his social media, he's got some followers and shares. Give him a follow. You've got to give him a follow. Morgan Steed 4, but have a look at his videos. He's so inspiring, and he's so proud to be a part of this. But he's got to a point now where he started to. So I do the as Mike said, the re-engaged, which is the 75 plus chair-based. We do chair-based exercise, and he's got to a point now where he does the warm-up. So he delivers the warm-up. He helps with the schools from the youngsters, and he helps deliver with those. His confidence has just exploded, and he is. Oh, give him a follow, guys. He is. Mike. He's in everybody's heart.
Oh, yes.
Heart,
and Karen's talking about in your heart, and that's the in thing here at Rodney Parade, because we're proud that we've been recognised recently. We won the URC league that we play in as running the best community and inclusion impact, and that covers Wales, Ireland, Scotland, and South Africa. We were also last week awarded with Everybody Moves award by Paralympic GB for our work in the disabled area. But like I've said to others, my best achievement is about 3 weeks ago. He walked into the office and he said, Mike, do you know what? And I said, what, Morgan? And he said, Mike, you're in my heart now. And it took me a year. I think Karen was in his heart after about 2 weeks, but it took me a year, and that's the biggest achievement that we have. And we're privileged to be able to provide these opportunities and use our identity through Dragons Rugby to provide these opportunities. And in terms of the happiness program, we're delighted to partner with them because they share our values in terms of the care, the support, the social impact. And I know we're working heavily with our community team now to provide inspiring content in terms of like stadium tours, players running out of our tunnel. So it'll submerge people to have the inspiring experience that we have being here at the Rodney Parade setting. So we're really excited about this partnership and adding that little bit of value that will make such a big impact throughout our region. So thanks very much for this opportunity to talk to us. And we'd certainly like to be involved with an interview and come down to Rodney Parade and sharing our successes as well, because one of our biggest successes is being surround ourselves by good people, and that's both staff, all our Dragons family members and partners, such as you all on this call today. We've all become one big family to make that as big an impact as we can. So thank you very much, all.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thanks very much, and thanks for joining us live. Who are you, Karen Blainer?
Blaenavon.
Blaenavon, oh,
Yes.
sorry. I'm glad we moved this online, because you're not well, Andy's not well, I'm not well, so I think I'm glad we did move it online after all. So thank you both for that and for joining us. It's always inspiring to hear what you're up to, and it'd be great to get you involved in the happiness program now as we move forward. So thank you both very much for that. Appreciate it. So the next thing we've got is to run through a few next steps, and I realised that we are now at 11:45, and I said we'd be done by 12. So let's whip through these last few slides, and then we've got a few polls and some quick Q&As at the end. So as Andy has covered off, really, in terms of feedback, the social ability are keen to receive feedback and get people involved in filming. There's been some in there, isn't there, in terms of the chat, in terms of people that want to get involved. So really appreciate that. Thank you for that, because I think it'd be good to get some a video done for Gwent, including the people that have commented back. So I think there was a ward, a care home, Dragons and stuff. So there's a good mix of people to follow up on there, so that's good. I think there's a call to action to book in training if you need any more training, or if you'd like any more training. Alice has put a link in the chat for that. Maybe we can put that one in again. I think Alice might have just done exactly, or you've put feedback in. Great, fab. So there's feedback for anyone that wants to fill that in the chat as well. I'm wary though that people might lose the chat when this ends, because we as part of the health board, so you might lose access to the chat. So we'll summarize this, send over the presentation and different things, so that you can access that and summarize a little bit of this in terms of contact details as well. And Alice has put her email address in there for anyone who'd like to volunteer for filming. So that's great. So without further ado, we've got a few polls to carry out. There's a little bit about future support. See, this has been funded, like we've said, by the Gwent Regional Partnership Board for a 2-year period, but the 2-year period started a while back. We've been planning this for a while, during COVID originally, I think we started, so it's been a long time coming to get to this point. But we'll follow up with a few things there in terms of what our future support looks like, and continuing to receive the happiness program. We are looking at that at the moment, and we'll be communicating that when we can. So there's a few polls that we'd like to do, and I realised that these slides have gone a little bit strange, but never mind. Steve is going to run us through the polls section, because we've been adding a couple of polls as we've been working through the session this morning. So Steve is in control of the polls, and he will go through them now for us. Thanks, Steve.
Cheers, Matt. Yeah, so the first one, if I just pop it in the chat, we mentioned a user group for the happiness program. So if you guys want to share best practice, speak to colleagues using it. So if I just launch that, you should be able to see it popping up on your screen, I hope. It's the first time I've tried this, so bear with me if not.
So
if I just leave that up for a couple of seconds for you guys to press one of the 3 options. Okay, so if everyone's done with that, hopefully I'm gonna close it now. And the next one I'll put up. So it looks like a lot of people would be interested, which is great news. For what we like to hear. The next one, a bit of a fun one. So following today's session, for those of you who have used the device before, we'd be interested just one word, how you describe, the happiness program, how you describe your take on it. So this should launch a word cloud, which should be some nice graphic. We can all see what we've all posted. Yes, we've got some words popping up: fun, brilliant, inspiring. Need trainings on there. That's a good one. So I think Alice has popped the link in the chat, so I'm sure that the team Sociability can sort that out. Yeah, engaging, interactive, all looking really good. So if I leave that up for a few more, I can see 26 people have replied. So I leave that for a few more seconds and close that.
That's a nice one. I can see some good ones on there. Magical, interesting, heartwarming, definitely been there this morning. Inspirational, and I think if we've dropped out, inclusive, that's what I was looking for. That's a really good one. I think the video that that is on Twitter, the one that the horse racing one, I thought it was fantastic and that very inclusive previously, but nice to see some of those. Thank you.
Right, I'm just going to close that poll. Thank you for submitting your answers to that. The next one, we mentioned earlier about the Gwent AT network, which is the group that Matt runs that meets once a month currently. And the next event, the next meeting is next week. So if I launch that, and if you are interested, we can always get back to you and add you to that group. And like Matt said, the more the merrier. Some really good work taking place in that forum. So yeah, if you would be interested in joining, it'd be great to have you guys along. Okay, I'll leave that for a couple more seconds and then close it down. Alternatively, if you didn't have time to get back to us on any of these polls, feel free to reach out to myself, Matt, over email or Teams. We're only an email or a Teams message away. So yeah, even if you haven't made your mind up, we can always add you into it later. The next one, I think Andy mentioned sort of the video case studies. So if you haven't put yourself in the chat so far, you can always answer this poll. So we can get your names and contact you about making some really good case study videos, like the ones you saw from Durham and County Hospital. Okay, I'll close that now in a second. Yeah, great to see that. Just under half respondents said yes, which is awesome. You know, the more videos we can put on this, the better. So, you know, sharing good practice and how things can be used well. And the last poll I have, sorry, it's been a little bit of a bombardment of polls, is sort of following today's event, sort of what next steps you'd be interested in taking. I know training popped up in that word cloud, so that's one of the options here. Once my computer lets it launch. Yeah, maybe they're not all on there, those options, but hopefully quite a few of them are. And this one as well, you can pick more than one answer, so feel free to click away. And just before I close out, I might pass on to you for the Q&A section, I think.
Great, excellent. Cheers, Steve. You've done a cracking job there, and great to see some of those responses and some of the ones that are coming in. We can leave this one run a minute, can't we? So trainings on there, increasing usage, using the devices differently, and linking in with other colleagues. There's quite a fair spread there, isn't it, in terms of the feedback from that. And on the course, we hopefully that group will enable some of that as well in terms of engaging around linking in with other people and how they use it and increasing the usage as well. So that's great. Thank you very much for that. We haven't got much time for the Q&A, but we did have a question that was posed in the chat around use at home through palliative for palliative care at home. Really good suggestion. We haven't got too many units available left. I don't think we've got, I think we've only got 2 left currently, but I'm really keen to explore that. So I'm just going back over the question actually, just to see who sent us that, so we can follow that up. We'll have all the stuff in the chat anyway, but keen to explore that. Really nice idea. There's flexibility with the kit. Like Andy said earlier, I've never heard it described as 2/3 of a shoebox in terms of the size of the unit, but yeah, that's a good example. So that's quite easy to carry around, and then the stand is collapsible to be able to fit in a car quite easily. And I've only got a mini, so yeah, it is definitely flexible. So more than happy to explore that. So we'll pick up that inquiry later on. But you know, thank you for that. I think it's a really good way of us doing that, and memory clinics, like you say. Really keen to pick up that discussion, Lorraine. So we'll definitely do that. And I got your details here, so I can follow up on that conversation if that's okay with you. Really like that use. And I think that's the thing. When you see this in action, you start to see how it could be used and who it could be used with and what settings it could be used in. And perhaps it inspires some of those thoughts, which is exactly why we've done today, really, to try to make sure that we do spark some of that, those thoughts. So really keen to do that. And get in contact with you and see where it can be used, because of course there's so much activity, as Mike was saying earlier, so much activity going on in our area and in the sector to make sure that people are cared for as well as possible, isn't it? So anybody else got any questions before we bring things to a close? And yes, Amanda, good point. Where we can add some training sessions to current training sessions. Yeah, that'd be a really good idea to build that into the sessions that you've currently got running as well. And we obviously can do that through you know, through individuals of contact as well, but also through perhaps LAs together as well. And the user group seems to have got some momentum, so we'll have a look at setting that up. We definitely think that would be a really good way to take things forward after this session, so that we can all get together and discuss how we can use the happiness program and take it forward. So that sounds good. So really grateful again for everyone for coming along. I think it's been a very inspiring session. Definitely had a few goosebump moments. Always do when Karen speaks and Mike speaks, but even when Andy speaks. I've known Andy for a little while now, so I thought that was great to kind of go through you know, some of that, the impact that it has. It's a fantastic project, and I think that John joining us to kind of give us a flavour of where the actual happiness program come from originally. He's already got his hat on, ready for his flight. So you know, it's great to see that, and we hope that, you know, you've obviously enjoyed the session as well, and picked up some things that we can take forward, and feel equally as inspired perhaps as we do. And I'm really grateful again for everyone coming along. Thanks for the feedback as well in the chat. Sounds like people have got quite a bit from the session today, and appreciate everyone's attendance. And we'll follow up on some of those things as well that people have posed, and follow up on the filming and the training and this, that, and the other, and the follow up from the slides as well. So really grateful, and we will see you soon, and we will be setting up that user group as well, so we can pick up on those things going forward. Thanks very much all, appreciate it. Thanks. Take care.
Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Means a lot.